While I'm getting grubby, I might as well at least tackle stage 1 of the rear frame, because we know some of it's going, and we all know what that means. Safety goggles. Not these ones, obviously, can't see shit out of these. Talking of monsters, that's a monstrous air filter and a monstrous battery as previously described. Might need to do something alternative for that. It is in quite good nick actually. So back to the emissions bullshit. Yeah, so that line goes up to the tank, and then this line goes down here. Oh, well, there's another line coming out the bottom which goes nowhere, another drain, and then this one off the back of it goes along the back here, down here, all the way into that little T-joint there. So I guess if it won't affect the running of it, we can just block off that T and get rid of all that shit. Is that going to work, or is it going to upset something like the ECU? Talking of getting rid of shit, yeah, so there's this ridiculous mount here for that airbox. And there's another bolt there that goes down to a mount down there somewhere. And then there's some kind of Allen thing too there. Well, I'm thinking we get rid of all this and just put some nice air filters on there, honestly. Individual K&N filters. Plenty of room. Yeah, it'll be much tidier, and airflow ain't a problem, obviously. I think we'll do that. Underneath that mounting post, it's a 4mm Allen key, and then you screw that the wrong way around to get it off. Doesn't take long for it to get to this state, does it? So I thought I'd take the battery out because it's not doing anything right now, and it'll be easier to get to the airbox. And then we got the whole battery cradle, and then another cradle below that. Boy. Ironically, while motorbikes are sometimes easier to work on because everything's kind of out there, the motor and whatever, it is actually crammed into ridiculously small places. And of course, you know, they have to find places to cram things into. So it becomes quite complicated, honestly. And you find yourself wondering, what were they thinking? But then whoever ends up with my MV Augusta, and probably this monster, will say exactly the same. What was he thinking? Why did he mount that like that? Why do I have to take this off to get to that? Talking of which, our friend the airbox. So I managed to loosen up the front end of it, which was a single 8mm bolt down there. I think that's loose. Not sure yet. Still not coming off. Then I'm calling it a day for today, because the boys need walking. The sun's going down, as you can probably tell from the light. Particularly like the cheese grater on the inside to scrape your knuckles when you're trying to screw that screw in. Yeah, nice. Good touch. There it is, beautiful. Loads of storage for tools. Get all the label the drawers once I've worked out and established where everything goes. There might be a little bit of jiggling around as I work it out as I go along. And all ready to do the first job on the bench, which of course is a shoe rack for the missus. Honeydews. Well, she did get me the bench. That penetrating oil did the trick on the exhaust studs. Remember, they came out rather than the nut coming off. So there's the nut coming off. I think it's about finger tight now. Yeah. Lovely. So I will either clean those up or maybe even get some new ones, honestly, but at least I've freed them up if I need to use them. Spoke too soon. This one's not playing ball at all. It's just spinning in the vise, no matter how hard I crank that down. So, new studs it is, but at least I've got the measurement and I know what I'm looking for now. Well, that was easy enough to find on eBay, so they'll be winging their way to me soon, hopefully. Ordered myself some fuel tank sealant, so I can sort out that leak at the bottom where the pump and everything fits in. And meantime, I'm going to be stripping off the decals with some of these boys, razor blade, and sanding it down. Prep for paint. Still haven't decided what colour. We have rubber gloves, not for anything nasty. Well, kind of. Rust dissolving navel jelly, not for my navel, but for the exhaust pipe. As you've already seen, it needs some cleaning up, and it's in the vise at the moment because I put some more of that fluid on it. I'm going to try and get that damn lambda thing off if I can, otherwise I'll have to tape it up so it doesn't get sprayed. And I'm thinking orange. How about that? Yeah, thinking orange from experience with engine paint, high temperature paint for the race car. The block was Chevy orange, obviously. So I'm thinking I'm going to be using that. I might change my mind. I'm allowed to. It's my project. But before I do that, I'm going to be trying to get this airbox off, which is going to be a fiddle with those Allen head bolts underneath those ridiculous extensions. So yeah, likely to be some of these dropping in the vicinity. So I definitely lied about the amount of wiring on this bike. Because it is the spaghetti situation all over again. And I can't really get to the bottom of this, so the Allen bolt is under there. And if you screw the stud up, this mounting thing, of course that reaches its limit at the top. And there's still a way to go, and you can't get that in there. So I'm having to do it like a sixth of a turn with an Allen key, which is a bloody nightmare. I've unclipped as much wiring as I can to get it out of the way, but yeah, it's all kind of interconnected, and as you can see in there, unbelievable design. Why would you do that? I don't know. I hope it's just me being stupid and there's a much easier way to take this off, but it's the only way I can see to do it. I'm very close to getting the angle grinder out and just chopping through that stud thing. This thing. That one. Yeah, God, this is frustrating. But in the horrible event that I have to put it back, which I can't even imagine how bad that'll be, they're probably like random $25 each or something crazy for those particular items. Here comes the garage monkey. What you doing, Maggie? Help is at hand. Don't eat that, you stupid animal. Turns out I was being stupid, and I just had to apply some opposite logic in that you can't get to the top of that. There's nothing there. So therefore it was a question of actually turning it the other way in a tightening motion, because it's a reverse thread on the top. So that's how you do it. You just keep tightening this. It stays mounted to the Allen bolt underneath and releases itself from the airbox. Obvious, really. Same logic didn't apply to this side, so I resorted to brute force. And we are free, apart from whatever's holding it in down there. Oh, I know I should have more patience with these things, but I really don't. So the last challenge on removing the airbox was this boy, the coil, I believe, which was mounted to the bottom of the airbox. So you had to get in there with an 8mm spanner because nothing else would fit. That would be a wrench for you American boys. And remove that from the bottom of the airbox. We are finally free, apart from this little tube. There's a lot of these tubes that kind of go nowhere. This one goes down to the ground, doing nothing. So, I don't know whether we need that or not at all. If we're going to come up with some really nice little individual air filters, I think not. So let's give it a good tug and get it out of there. Yay! I don't know why people are so afraid of monsters. I managed to destroy one in less than a week. So as far as I'm aware, I don't see any reason why I can't fit individual air filters there without any impeachment or impairment of impeachment. Yeah, no, that'd be presidents. Yeah, any impairment of airflow or anything else to do with the ECU. If anyone knows any better, do leave me some advice in the comments, because as you may have gathered, I'm not totally clued up to all this. And I think our coil buddy can then mount to the front of that battery tray quite nicely. With a little persuasion. Leads aren't quite long enough, obviously, but I'm sure we can work something out. Yeah. Do let me know if you know any better. I'm thinking something like this. Here's one I prepared earlier. Yes, I bought it for the Augusta when I was thinking of doing the same thing with that, as opposed to the airbox, which I modified. And I don't see why that wouldn't work. I got one because it was a test piece, but yeah, that'll fit there too. I've got all this bloody space up here. Amazing. I can put a bigger toolkit in there. Only joking, obviously. Yeah, I really like this. This is going to work. Please tell me it's going to work. The other good news about taking the airbox off is that I've revealed the other end of those horribly rotten fuel lines. Yeah, I mean, that's just a disaster waiting to happen. Never mind the fire aspect, which is minimal, but yeah, I mean, just being stranded on a desert road, hundreds of miles from anywhere. Not that I ever do that on a motorbike, but yeah, I mean, that could be horrible. So that's good. We've got good access to all that shit, because that's all coming off. Needs replacing. So this is interesting, something I've never seen before, where this coil has one spark plug lead coming out of it. It goes down to the front cylinder down here. And yeah, and the back cylinder has its own spark plug. It goes back to its own coil. Which anyway, somewhere around here. There it is. Yeah, there. In there. That's the boy, there. Still undecided about the whole seat situation, although I have found some possibilities of other seats, including a Gixxer actually, a Suzuki GSXR seat that might kind of do the trick for the super short version. So let's do some voting. I'm going to put it on Facebook, I think. And I'd appreciate if you vote for either the minor chop or the major chop. Bear in mind the major chop's going to be a major pain in the arse for me, but I am tending towards that myself. Seeing as everything's going so well, swimmingly, I'm going to attempt to take this last bolt off. Either way, we're going to be coating the exhaust in naval jelly, which is maybe KY for sailors, I don't know. Yeah, and then we're going to see what happens in terms of it cleaning up the exhaust. Naval jelly and rubber gloves. Yeah, doesn't bode well, does it? How about that? Little gentle persuasion with a mallet and a vise, and bingo! So the lesson is never quit while you're ahead. Keep going until it all goes horribly wrong. At that point, that's when you kind of call it a day. Because at that point there's always tomorrow, and you never know what tomorrow brings. Here endeth the lesson in philosophy. Some interesting scrapes on the bottom of the exhaust, which I hadn't noticed before. Not quite sure how you do that, apart from taking speed humps at some ridiculous speed. I don't know. Well, we're about to put some navel jelly on. So I think I can safely bid farewell to my cleaning brush, which up till now has been used for degreasing, but I don't think it's going to survive navel jelly. What do you think? Oops, nearly forgot the gloves. Ready to go. And there we have it. Goo is gone. The front forks, sans reflectors. And much as I hate cleaning, I'm going to just give the wheels a little clean up, see if they'll come up nicely, or whether I'm going to paint them or not. I'll start with that, and I've got some good old-fashioned teacup. All the way from the UK. I actually bought this when I threw my latest leaves into a field, and I shall be giving this a sanding too, ready for whatever colour I'm going to paint it. That navel jelly did quite a good job in taking the worst of it off. I'll probably be sanding this down too, so generally making a bit of a mess today, getting dirty. In theory, the battery from the Monster is interchangeable with the 748, although it looks a lot smaller. So I'm just going to see if that works. And if it does, Derek can take this away when he drops off the MV, which is now running. And yeah, he can do the timing belts on it, because I don't want to do that. Turns out the problem with the MV was it had actually blown out some O-rings in the fuel system, so the fuel wasn't getting to the fuel rail for the injectors. So I'd have never found that, so thank God for people like Derek, eh? Well, it kind of fits. It's got this breather hose. And of course it's not as high as the other one, but we'll see if we can secure it in there. Temporarily at least, just to see if the baby will. Alright, we're ready to give it a turn over, see what happens. And if this doesn't work, what I'm going to do is try my mate Ricky Booby's trick for charging the old battery, which even the Optima wouldn't bring back up to speed. But apparently if you charge them in parallel and put a half decent battery in the middle, that actually makes a difference. So we're going to try that if this doesn't work. We might try that anyway. Well, that worked a treat. So the Ducati is back up and running at least, and might get Derek to take it away with him. The reassuring sound of a bag of nails. Yeah, nice shiny wheels. They're actually in really good nick. Cleaned up nicely just with that goo gone. Actually didn't get to use T-cut. That's a little bit of leftover weights from balancing the tyres. So yeah, they're not polished, but they are cleaned, and I really like them. So I think we're going to leave those black. Just soaking those exhaust joining brackets, clips, I don't know what you call them, in my special concoction. Seem to work nicely on the lambda sensor, which is still disconnected. Lovely. And that reminds me, I need to go sand the exhaust pipe. Fun. Not perfect by any means, but I think that's as good as I need it. Use some fairly rough grade sandpaper to start with, and then finished it off with about a 800 or something like that. Maybe it's a 400 even. Ready for paint, I do believe. Put that on the shelf, wait till the paint arrives. While I'm getting grubby, I might as well at least tackle stage 1 of the rear frame, because we know some of it's going, and we all know what that means. Safety goggles. Not these ones, obviously, can't see shit out of these. That'll give me time to put the seat back on and just get used to that idea and see if I want to take it a step further. Well, we're getting the scratches out. It's beginning to look like a killer whale. Walker, technical term. Well, that's what a stage 1 chop would look like. Not totally radical, but not totally bad either. Still a good 10 inches shorter, I think. But, yeah, not enough, I don't think. I think what we need something a little bit more radical. I really like my little air filter idea. The other one would be tucked up there, you wouldn't see it, but frees up a lot of space in the front there. Not that I need the space, but yeah, that's kind of nice. Yeah. How to suffocate an air filter. Keep it in the plastic bag. I like that. Yeah. Nice when you finish what you set out to do for the day. It's all done. Cheers. I think these covers need painting. There's this horrible kind of matte grey collecting dirt kind of colour. Going to be a pig to get off, but not sure what they're covering. I think it's the timing chain. Better check my useless CD that's missing all the pictures. I've ordered new fuel lines, and what I'm thinking is, it's kind of crazy, because they've rooted it right by the cylinder head, you can see in there, and it comes right over, so that's going to get bloody hot, and I can't see why you wouldn't root it. There's a nice little gap in the battery, and there's the battery tray, and there's a thing, and there's a nice little gap there, which would bring it on top of that golden and underneath the black piece, and then back round here. But why wouldn't you do that? Keep it away from the heat. So I think I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, makes sense to me. Bought some lights for the front. Yeah, I kind of copped out on that, honestly, and just got some straight out the crate, as it were. Sadly from China. Don't really recommend that, but we'll see when they turn up what they look like. They should look something like this. Those covers were indeed the timing belt covers, and there's the belts. Looks kind of funky. Perhaps I should get some glass ones. That would be cool. Clear perspex. It's a bit grubby in there though. Anyway, the belts look in reasonable condition, so I'm hoping they've been replaced relatively recently. I would say they look okay. Is that a bit of delamination going on there? Yeah. Yeah, that's not so good. I shall ask Derek to take a look and offer his opinion when he comes to see it. Yeah. Of course, you can offer yours if you're ahead of Derek's visit. Labelled all my drawers too. Very nice. Anyway, we can get these horrible grey dirty things cleaned up and sprayed something. Another wonderful concoction of Goo-Gone and standard kind of engine degreaser. Get the worst of the grime off. I shall get rid of that with a rag, and then I'll probably pop them in the dishwasher, but don't tell the missus. Talking of concoctions, a Campari and cherry soda. Very nice. Cheers. I'll clean the inside as well a little bit. Not that it's going to matter because I'm not going to be painting that, but it will stop our coffee tasting like Castrol GTX, which would be a bit of a giveaway, wouldn't it? So let's just pop those in the dishwasher for a 1 hour cycle and see what happens. I wasn't joking. Next thing I'll be looking at is the whole foot peg situation. Clearly we don't need that, but we might need that to mount the exhaust. So I'll probably wait until that comes in when I've decided what I'm going to get, actually. So that might be a little while. I'm going to look for some decent pegs. I mean, they're horrible, aren't they? Blech. So a little bit of eBay research on exhaust mufflers. I found a few already, and some nice foot pegs, I think. I think it deserves that. Had to loosen those two off just to get this out, because one of the screws is down there, Allen screw, which of course you can't get to when it's up here. So anyway, drop that out of the equation. Visually that looks lovely, doesn't it? How clean is that? So hopefully we can just lose that emissions bullshit. We'll find out. Lots going on with the Monster, and I think that'll do for this episode. So thanks for watching, and do subscribe if you haven't already, and watch some of the other videos, the MV Augusta series, which is nearly complete. It's running again. Apparently the fuel tank got mullered in the process of fixing the starting issue, so I may be repainting that. Encourage others to watch my lunacy.